Good morning, New York Mets fans, and welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm your host, the Bat Frie, Kenny Frie. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing all right. Yeah, it is what it is. Wednesday, hump day. We got our first comment, and it's our boy, the main man, Adam Glenn. What's up, Adam? How you doing, buddy? Thanks for checking the show out. I'm sure I'll fulfill your needs of wanting to know what the Mets are doing. I know you're a closet Mets fan, Adam. I know you are. I have no doubt that you're a closet Mets fan, posing as a Phillies fan. So I'll try to make you proud, buddy. So the Mets, they've been playing better. It doesn't really matter all that much. It's a little bit too late. But it's nice to see them playing a little bit better. Again, the competition, playing like the Cardinals and stuff like that. They should be playing better against teams like the Cardinals. So earlier in the season, I don't know if I can't remember when it was May or not, but they played against the Cardinals. Cardinals were a crap team, and the Cardinals ended up I think taking 2 or 3 against the Mets. And just times like that's where you kind of need those series wins back when it really mattered back in May or June or whenever it was. But now it's a little bit too late. But again, like I said, it is what it is. I kind of enjoy seeing some of the I don't know if you would call them younger players, but the minor leaguers that have been called up. I like seeing some of those guys play and succeed. Like a DJ Stewart and stuff like that, or Ortega and Aruz. They playing all right. Ortega's been playing all right. Lil Castro. It's neat to see some of those players that don't get the recognition or don't have the star power name in the minor leagues, like a Mauricio Beatty or Vientos Alvarez and stuff like that. So it's kind of looking for silver linings, kind of thing, like grabbing at straws or whatever you want, however you want to look at it. So that's I like that a little bit. I like that the big guys are playing a little bit better. McNeil, Alonso, Nimmo's been hitting a little bit better. Lindor's been absolutely killing it. I'll get to him a little bit later on. We got a couple more comments before I jump into our topics here. And Miss Eileen. Hello, Eileen. How are you? She said, morning, let's be real. Who isn't a Mets fan? I know, for real. Everybody's a closet Mets fan. Everybody. They're hard to hate sometimes, right? Yeah, right. It's one to bring this up. It's hard to hate the Mets sometimes. The other night when the Mets were playing St. Louis and you had that lad, I can't think of. You had Pete tossed the ball up into the crowd instead of giving it to the dugout and having them authenticate it and stuff like that, and get it back to them. They were killing. People were actually social media. Was absolutely killing. Now the St. Louis fans, I get, but the social media was absolutely killing them. They were destroying Pete. And you know what? My thought was it was an honest mistake. It absolutely was an honest mistake. My opinion of that was you look at the play. It was a poor throw. He dives, stretches out for it, kind of dives, belly flops, to stop the ball. Ball's in the dirt, and he said as much. He said usually when the balls are in the dirt like that, they get hit hard in the dirt. The ball's thrown into the dirt. Usually they just get rid of it. He'll toss it up in the crowd. And the umpire said as much. It's like, we're going to switch it out. And so Pete does the thing that that he's done 1,000 times before, is just toss the ball into the crowd for a lucky fan, while not realizing that it was that dude's first hit. He got the ball back anyway. So I mean, it's the way I look at it is no harm, no foul. He has the kid has a story with his first major league hit now, because it wasn't it's not like he hit a rocket down the third base line, or he hit a home run, or it was a little, I think it was a high chopper, I think, towards I think it was third base. Third base or short. I feel like it was third base, but I could be wrong with that. That was a tough play, and he was able to beat it out. So it's not like it was like a crazy special hit, but either way, it was his first major league hit. But now he has an extra story to go with that. He has a story, like the polar bear tossed it up into the crowd and stuff like that. So you take it for what it is. But then people absolutely killing Pete, saying that he wasn't genuine in his apology. I'll tell you what, that dude, it looked like somebody kicked his dog. If you ask me, like he looked really, really bummed about it. I thought his apology was 100% genuine. I don't want to get all weird or corny about it, but it looked absolutely heartfelt. It was like a heartfelt apology. Yeah, I messed up. I tossed the ball into the crowd. I'm not going to toss any more balls into the crowd. So, and like I said, no harm, no foul. The kid got the ball back anyway. I don't know what the fan got. I know people were really like laying into her, because she wasn't giving the ball back right away. And I'll tell you what, any one of those fans, maybe minus a few diehards out there, any one of those fans would have held on to that ball to try to get something better out of it. Any one of them, whether it be cash, a signed ball, a signed bat, tickets or something like any one of those fans. And if you're saying you wouldn't, you're lying. You're absolutely lying. So, so she was holding out for something better. She ends up leaving the game. I don't know if she was escorted out or whatever. But the guy got the ball. The authenticator got the ball. The kid got his ball. So it's in the end of the day, it wasn't a big deal. So, but people made it a big deal. Adam says, I hate the Mets. I don't hate. Maybe he's saying I don't hate. I think that the way I read that, Adam, is I like the Mets. That's how I read that. So good for you, buddy. Welcome to the dark side. Eileen says, yeah, that poor Cards rookie, LOL. And then she also says, didn't Pete end up sending a signed gift to Win? Yes, the Win. That's the kid's last name. I think Pete. I think he signed a bat and sent it over or something like that. And then there was something else he bought him as well. I don't remember exactly 100% what it was. But yeah, he did, he did, take care of the kid, got him a couple gifts, kind of like, I'm sorry kind of stuff. I like even the Cardinals dugout was letting him have it, which understandably, I get that part of it. But for everybody on social media, especially after he came out with his apology, just to rip him apart, it's like, Jesus Christ, get over yourself, guys. For me, that was an absolutely genuine, apology from Pete, and it was an honest mistake. Shit happens sometimes, right? It happens. Adam Papa, hey Adam, how you doing, buddy? I haven't seen you on here in a while. Thanks for checking the show out. He bought him a bottle of some sort of alcohol and he signed back. The kid probably can't even drink the alcohol. He's probably like 19 or 20. But yeah, that's right. It does sound like I don't know if it was I don't think it was was it a wine? I don't remember now, but yeah, now that you say that, I do remember that it was the alcohol. The signed bat part I remembered, but I knew there was something else that went with it. Which is, that's pretty cool. He didn't have to do it, but because like I said, in the long run, the kid got the ball back, got a pretty cool story with it. It's a unique story that doesn't happen that often. So it's one of those things like, hey, remember that time that I got my first hit and Pete Alonso threw the ball into the crowd and everybody wanted to kill him? That's a cool story to have, I guess. If you're Win, if you're Alonso, not so much. Because it's going to be something that sits over his head for a little while, and the next time somebody gets a first hit, and if it ends up in his hands, it's going to be brought up again. It's just going to be one of those things that's probably going to stick to him for a little bit. One more comment, then we're going to move on to Buckaroo. Eileen says, send a nice bottle of tequila, Don Julio 1942. I don't know what any of that is. I know what tequila is. Don Julio 1942. I don't know if that's like a If that's good, that's bad. If that's expensive, if 1942 is the year, or that's Don Julio's house number, I don't know. It's more of a ha ha ha, not a serious story. Yeah, I agree. It's something you don't see every year. I'll tell you that. I've never seen it before. And again, like I said, you can't blame that fan for holding out. You know what I mean? Hopefully she got something out. I bet you if you went through the interwebs, you'd find out that she got she got something from the Cardinals, whether it be a bat, a ball, or something like that, or a pitcher with I don't know, some Cardinal, Albert Pujols or something. I don't know, but yeah, you don't blame her. If you say you would have gave it back right away, I think you're a liar. I know I wouldn't have given it back right away. If I caught it, I'm like, well, I get it. It's the kid's first hit, but it's the first time I ever got a ball. So a Major League Baseball. That was in a game, I should say. I don't want to. So Buck Showalter's future, Buck's future. This has been brought up on the Twitter box a bunch of times. My good buddy Nelson, the Amish country Mets fan, has put a couple polls out there with asking the people, the Mets, New York Mets nation, what they think about Buck's future. Should Buck come back? Should Buck fire? Will Buck? Should Buck be fired? Should Buck retire? Stuff like that. So my thought on it is, I do believe that Buck should retire, move on. Maybe to a front office job or something like. Still stay part of the organization. Maybe like a special advisor's role or something. I don't know what the hell they do for aging managers now. But it feels to me that the game has almost kind of passed him by a little bit. I don't as a good rapport with the younger players. I don't know. It's like I feel like he doesn't mesh well with the younger players. Doesn't understand the new age type of player. Their celebrations, how they react to the media or they react to the crowd or stuff like that. Like I've talked about it before on the show. How about earlier in the season? It seemed like the Mets were having a lot of fun. Obviously, winning does do that for you. But there's some games that they won that were really big. Either come from behind or late inning heroics. Big home runs, and they looked like they were having a lot of fun. I've talked about it a bunch of times. I even made some jokes about Pete impregnating the rail, the dugout rail. He was dry humping it for whatever reason, but he was having fun. The team was having fun. It was weird, but they were still having fun. Well, then, Buck, pretty much, accosted him, through the media and stuff like that. I don't know who Buck did an interview with, but he was, basically saying that, they need to have the mentality, we've been there before type of mentality. There's no reason to act out like that, but that's not how it is. It's, this isn't 1995, Yankees or anything like that. This isn't George Steinbrenner run team. It's a different team. And, I don't think Buck's really, Buck seems like he could be a fun manager. Like, he does joke around a little bit, but I don't think he's to the point, where, the younger players on his team really need him to be. I just don't think he meshes well with the younger players is what I'm trying to say. In a roundabout weird way, I'm trying to say, I don't think Buck meshes well with the younger players. That's why I think Buck should retire, or the Mets should offer him some sort of like a different type of office role with the organization, so he could still be a part of the baseball, because I think he still has more to give to the game. And I thought I still think that Buck is a good manager. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of intricacies. I don't know if I said it right or not, that are in this game, the small minor detail stuff that Buck does really, really well with. And, this year hasn't worked out so well for him, but, last year had worked out well for him for the most part. In years past with other teams that he's coached with, it's worked out for him. So he's a very smart coach, and I I still believe he has more to give. I just don't think it should be, in the dugout wearing a New York Mets uniform. Let him put on a suit or something or whatever, a collared shirt, a polo shirt or something, whatever he wants to wear. If he wants to wear a tank top, let him put a tank top on and go work in the office somewhere. Give him a corner office, maybe a window, and go from there. You have something next to the water cooler, a break room, so you can, have easy access to the refrigerator and microwave, which is, a key thing for office folk, I think. I don't know. I don't work in an office. If I worked in an office, that's where I'd want to be. I'd want to be in the office, close to the break room, by the refrigerator, microwave, maybe even the water cooler, so I can kind of hear people talk and, eavesdrop a little bit. So I have some dirt to dish out. But that's why I don't work in an office, because I'm conniving like that. I don't know. Eileen says, the fan received an autographed ball, jersey, and hat in exchange. I think that's a fair offer. You know what? I think that's a totally fair offer. An autographed ball. I wonder who did it say who autographed it? But the freaking jersey itself. If it's, I assume it's an authentic jersey. The hell, that's what, $200. $220. Hats nowadays $40, which is absolutely insane. And the autographed ball, depends on who signs it. That could be worth a little bit of something as well. So yeah, she made out pretty well. She did get heckled a little bit in the crowd, but it'd be worth it. Joe Sullivan checking in. What's up, Joe? You can check Joe out on Mondays on a Sully Squad at 6 p.m., I believe, and then 8:30 p.m. on Tuesdays on Extra Innings talking Major League Baseball. Tell you what, Joe, I am tired. It's one of those things where it's like I kept looking at the clock. It's like, come on, 10 o'clock. Where are you? Let's get this going here. I'm tired. So that's my thoughts on Buck's future. Let me know, your thoughts on Buck, if you think that the Mets should fire him, keep him, in the spot he's in, or if he should retire, or maybe even look into an office role, as a special advisor type thing or whatever. We got Joe again. There we go. Thanks for letting me know. Old School is back tomorrow night with the 93 Phillies. That's going to be a great show. So 93 Phillies. I was 13 years old, and where I live in Pennsylvania, it's 100 miles away from Philadelphia. So it's not that far away, and everybody loved the Phillies back then. I mean, everybody, all my friends and stuff like that, and so it was kind of weird being a Mets fan. But even I kind of like the Phillies as well. Kruk, Dalton, Mickey Morandini, Tommy Green. Of course, Wild Thing. Mitch Williams. So Lenny Dykstra. So it was a lot of great players on that 93 team. It was kind of a bummer that they lost the way they did, but then I could laugh at my Philly friends. So it worked out pretty well in the end. And so check it out tomorrow night. Old School is back tomorrow night with the 93 Phillies. That's gonna be a terrific show. Probably not as good as the 86 Mets one we did there, Joe, but it'll be all right. Hey, Chris from CPNY Sports Pod. What's up, buddy? Thanks for checking the show out. Thanks for commenting. Just talking about Buck's future and my thoughts. My thought is that Buck should retire. I don't think he should get fired, but I do think he should retire. Maybe the Mets should offer him some sort of office type role, whether it be a special advisor type thing or whatever, in charge of bunting analytics or something. I don't know. Something. Give the old man something to do. You don't want to throw grandpa out on the curb. You still want to give him something to do, make him feel like he's part of the game. I thought Buck did really well when he was working with ESPN. I think it was ESPN. When he, I don't know if he just did if it was Baseball Tonight. I don't think he did the live games. I could be wrong about that. I don't remember. My memory box isn't very good. It's filled up with a bunch of bad things. Joel Sullivan says Buck is a good manager, but it may be time to move on. And I agree. I like I said, I still think Buck has a lot to give, but not with this Mets team. I think Buck would be better off with a team that's a little bit longer in the tooth, a team that's led by a lot of older veteran players. Guys in their early to mid 30s, somewhere around there. With a couple younger guys. I mean, most of the Mets, you look at the age group, I could be wrong about this, but I feel like most of the Mets are 30 and younger, so it's a fairly young team. And I just feel like, Buck really killed their mojo this year. That's how I feel about it. And it was tough to see because I really liked, when they signed Buck, I really liked it. And, last season, for the most part, I thought he did a really, really good job. This year, he's just a lot of misses this year. Joe says Buck was good on TV. Yeah, I liked him in that role, whether it was Baseball Tonight or doing the games live. I thought, because he always had little stories, and, he's such a smart he has such a smart baseball mind that he's a lot to lend to that. So real quick, back to Chris from CPNY Sports Pod. You can check Chris out. He does an Interstate Mets report with Nelson, Amish country Mets fan. He also does a Mets roundtable show with a couple other Mets fans. He also does another Mets show. For some reason, it's escaping me what it's called. But he does a couple Mets shows. The other one that I can't think of, it's I don't know if it's a post game show or it's like something like that. It's Nelson, Chris, and I feel like the guy's handles Sunny Flushing 44 or something like that. I'm screwing it all up. But yeah, check Chris's shows out. You can check Chris out. His handle is pretty much CPNY Sports for all social media platforms. A lot of good Mets shows with Chris, and also he does some Giant stuff just like we do here at Out of the Box Sports. We have the Big Blue Power Hour on Monday nights, talking New York Giants football. Football is right around the corner, so. Joe says Buck would make more sense across town with the Yankees. Yeah, he probably would. I think the Yankees are a little bit more of an older team, but I did see something. Now the internet does lie from time to time, but I did see something where they said they might explore and bringing Joe Girardi back, or that was maybe it was like more of a suggestion. Maybe not. It wasn't the Yankees were actually exploring that option. But whoever wrote the article was saying, perhaps the Yankees should be looking to Joe Girardi because Aaron Boone is more a good bit softer on the players. He's I don't know if he's a player, if they call that a player's coach or not, but he's like really, really like always coming up with excuses as to why they're not performing. Whereas Girardi was a little bit more of a hard ass with the Yankees. Wouldn't let them slide with some of the mistakes or their performances this year. So, but it's gonna be interesting to see what happens across town there with the Yankees. For as poorly as they've played the second half so far, there's going to be heads that are going to roll. You would assume anyway. You assume I assume Aaron Boone's going to be gone, but you never know. It just seems like every day it's something new with that guy. Whether it's arguing with the umpires, which I get a kick out of. I think he's hilarious. He was arguing with that one umpire. I can't think of the umpire's name, but the umpire was really giving it back to him. He's like, what the hell have you done this season? It's like, oh man, you never hear an umpire really going back at the coach like that. And I was dying. And even when he did he mimicked the umpire's strikeout call at home plate, it makes me miss Lou Piniella. If you've watched baseball for a long time, which I think everybody that's watching the show right now has, you remember Lou Piniella. And Sweet Lou, he'd get his money worth out there. He'd be kicking dirt and throwing bases, and and he would go at it all the time. I loved watching Sweet Lou get into an argument. One of my favorite Mets memories. I've only gone to a couple games. I think 3 games maybe. And the one game I went to see the Mets play the Braves up in I think it was Shea. I don't think it was Citi Field. I don't think Citi Field was there yet. And Bobby Cox got into an argument with the umpire and got thrown out. I thought that was pretty cool. I never thought I'd get a chance to see an all-time manager like Bobby Cox get thrown out of a game, which he did a lot of. But I thought that was pretty cool. I think Oliver Perez pitched that game for the Mets, but I could be wrong. Hit up a couple more comments here. Adam says it's football season, best time of the year. You know what? I really do like this time of the season because you're starting to head into playoff baseball, and then you have football season. And now I've really gotten back into hockey the last 2 seasons with the LA Kings. I'm really looking forward to when hockey starts as well. So I'm going to have all 3, even though the Mets aren't really into the playoff race. I'm still going to have playoff baseball. The hockey season started, football started, so it is a fun time of year. It really is. It's starting to get cooler out. At least the last couple of days it was a little bit cooler here in PA, but I think it's supposed to heat back up, which is I'm not a big fan of. Joe says Yankees need to get younger. Absolutely, and I think their farm system's so depleted, though, Joe. From what I understand, I'm not big into the Yankees farm system, but one of the reasons why they didn't make too many trades at the deadline is because they have nobody to trade out of their farm system. So, that's what teams are looking for. Usually, they're looking for that, that prospect in your farm system when they're trading away one of their bigger guys to a team. And if you don't have those prospects, well, then you're up the river, man. Our resident Yankee fan, Eileen, says Booney has to go. I agree. 9 in a row. What is that? 9 losses in a row for the Yankees? Is that what that is? There's somebody else that I think the Rangers have lost like 7 in a row. I think 6 or 7 in a row, which is crazy for as well as they've played the season. The umpire was Laz Diaz. Yep. I couldn't remember that. I could picture. I see them arguing. I see Diaz going back at him. But as soon as I seen Diaz, I remembered who it was. It was so funny. Joe Sullivan says Lou Piniella had epic rants. Oh, man, he would get so angry. I used to love watching Piniella get angry. It's probably one of the only reasons. Well, no, it's not the only reason, but it is one of the reasons I really loved watching the Mariners play. Who was he? He coached. Who did he coach after the Mariners? Was it Miami? Was it or Florida Marlins, or was it? Man, I don't remember. Was it Arizona? I don't remember. But yeah, it was sweet Lou, man. He'd get into it and he'd get his money's worth, and it was so funny, so animated. He just did some goofy ass stuff. I love it. Eileen said, I told Dave on extra innings the Yankees are done. They absolutely are done. They can't pitch, can't hit right now. It's been really bad for a while for the Yankees, and she says there's 9 losses in a row for the Yanks, which is insane. I don't know. Now that you say that, I thought I saw or heard a graphic. I didn't hear a graphic. I heard somebody say on sports radio that this is like the first time, the most losses in a row the Yankees had since early 90s. I don't remember exactly when it was, like 93 or something like that. That's insane. Adam says, when is the last time no New York team made the playoffs? It's probably happened more often than you think, Adam. I don't know. That's something that you'd have to Google, Adam. Google, or if anybody out here is watching, go ahead and look that up and shoot us a text, a comment. Chris says, what do you make of the Braves throwing out Alonso again with no retaliation? I don't even know why they're throwing out Alonso, to be honest with you. For as much as our guys get hit, Pete's right at the top there. I'm surprised every time there's no retaliation. Like how many times, and that I think this falls back on Buck again. How many times do our players have to get hammered? And now last year, I think I remember one time where Mets pitching retaliated. If I remember correctly, I don't remember who was pitching. But but I feel like it was only one time. And like this year, I don't remember at all. And there has to be some sort of retaliation. There has to be. You have to stand. Sooner or later, you have to stand up for yourself. Your pitcher has to be able to stand up for your teammate. We get hit so often that it's really surprising that we don't see more of it. It seems like a non-issue, and I that for me that falls on the manager. I always feel like that's the manager's call. I could be wrong with that because I've never been a pitcher or a catcher for a Major League Baseball team, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. But I feel like that falls back on the manager, and that's another thing. I think it's just I think Buck's time is up. I just think it's passed them by, and it's time to send Buck out to stud. Eileen says 1982. Wow, I didn't think it was that long ago, but I was 2 years old. 1982. Bryce Elder hit him earlier this year. Pete made the throw to. Oh, I do remember that now. Yeah, I do. Yeah, get the hell over it. I mean, for crying out loud, you know what I mean? Like that's ridiculous. And you know what the thing, again, Pete has had a really strange year this year. With as low as his batting average has been, the struggles he had through June, and the better part of July with his power numbers being way down, and and stuff like that. Just recently heating up. But that goes back to earlier in the season. When that happened, that's something that, according to these other, I've seen a couple comments from other players that, that's something that's said all the time. It's just, that happened to be picked up by a hot mic and made more out of it than it actually needed to be. There was no reason to pile on with it, but it's Pete Alonso, so they ran with it, and here we are. Mets are 22 games. I don't know how many it is. 21 games behind the Braves, and Bryce Elder still has a stick up his ass about Pete saying throw it again. I mean, it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous, in my opinion. Anyway, I agree. I think that's a manager thing, and whether it's philosophy or just whatever it is, it's you have to for as often as it happens, you have to retaliate. A nice ball into the ribs or the back, both nothing ever happens. Both benches clear. They point at each other. They holler at each other. The bullpen runs out, and then by the time the bullpen gets to shortstop to the field, the sand area, it breaks up, and they got to turn around and walk back. So it's never anything big. It has to be done, though. It's part of the game. It has to be done. Eileen says, I do know the Yankees and Mets have never finished in last place in the same season, and the Yankees are doing their part, and the Mets are trying to do their part. One game ahead of the Nationals right now for last place, for the basement in the East, which, you ask any Mets fan, I mean, you probably ask any Nationals fan, to be honest with you, if that was even a thought that crossed their mind, they would have said absolutely not. I know I didn't think that. I had the Nationals finishing probably with the worst or second worst record in all of Major League Baseball. Maybe ahead of the Athletics, and they haven't won a whole lot of games, but the Nationals have played much better than I thought they would have. So, give them credit. It's they're fighting. So. And we'll move on to Francisco Lindor, another guy that got a lot of grief this year, a lot of guff, especially early on, and rightfully so. I'm one of the guys that kind of I don't want to say laid into him, because it was I just kind of complained a little bit that his average was down so low and he wasn't really doing anything, besides playing solid defense like he usually does. But then came to the All-Star game. I said I don't think Lindor should be even considered to be an All-Star because his batting average is so low. I take a lot of stock into batting average. I know a lot of people look at batting average as like an old school stat. It doesn't really mean as much as it used to. I still think batting average is a big thing, just like on base percentage. I think on base percentage is a huge thing. That's why I like OPS, on base and slugging percentage combined. I think they tell a big story. But with Lindor hitting as low as he was, the batting average, two teens or whatever it was, 220s, whatever it was back around the All-Star break. And then my boy Nelson, the Amish Country Mets fan, kind of opened my eyes a little bit and, kind of said, well, look at this, look at this, look at this. And, I kind of dug a little bit deeper instead of just being the reactionary fan. And I'm like, you know what? He's, for as low as his batting average is, he's still having a really, really good year. And so one of the things I started noticing as I watched, I don't get a chance to watch every Mets game. I do have the MLB app, and with the Mets playing kind of crappy, a lot of the games are just they're not televised on the app anymore. They're audio, and that's it. It's really pissing me off. But anyway, so I get to watch a little bit, but not as much as I'd like to. But every time I do watch the Mets, the one thing I do notice is that Lindor seems to be stepping up as a leader. I've seen him, go out and talk to the pitcher, call it in the infield in, and kind of talk strategy or whatever. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. He could be talking about this time he went to Chuck E. Cheese's when he was 10 years old. I don't know for sure. But anyway, I feel like he's really stepped up, and that's something we really need. Pete always has done well with the media in New York. I thought anyway. He's always owned up to what his shortcomings have been, and he's always answered the questions. It seems like Francisco Lindor, in my opinion, the last couple seasons, a little bit more timid, a little bit more quiet. Still getting used to the New York scene, coming from Cleveland and all. But I feel like this year he's been vocal with the media. He's been seen. He's been noticed as a visual leader, and also with his teammates. Working with Mark Vientos earlier in the season, or not earlier. Probably just a few weeks ago. It feels like ages ago, but a few weeks ago, working with Mark Vientos at third base. With fielding and stuff like that, giving him tips, pointers. That's fantastic. And I feel like that. Lindor could, very well be the next, Met, captain or whatever you want to call it. Kind of like what David Wright was for the Mets a few years ago, which feels like many moons ago. I'm getting as the older I get, as I get older, that's what I'm trying to say. Things seem to be further away. It's really crazy to think, how long ago like 1995 was. It's like, oh my God, I am getting old. So, but anyway, get off me being old. I do think that I think Lindor should, could be a leader. I think he should be. I think the Mets should come out. Whoever the next manager is, I think there should be a new manager. Should come out and make it public. Say Lindor's our captain. Lindor's our leader. Offensively, he's had another terrific year. His batting average, it has been, in my opinion, not my opinion, but because it's, numbers, it's factual, and, has been, skyrocketing. I think the last 50, listened to the game last night, the last 50 some games, 54, 55 games, he's hitting like 320 or something like that. It's, unbelievable. He's played very, very well. To dig out of the hole that he was batting average wise has been really impressive. The same thing, for Jeff McNeil, he's really climbed out of a bit of a hole as well. But it seems like Lindor has been really doing this for the better part of the year. So he's been impressive, and I feel like he's been their MVP this season, which for as crappy of a season as it is, it's kind of weird naming an MVP of a team. But if you had to name an MVP for the team, I do think Lindor would be that MVP this season. So that's what I got on that, on my Lindor talk. Adam Glenn says you're old. Adam, I think you're just as old as I am. You're pretty close. So we'll move on to leading up to kind of what I was just talking about with Lindor, Alonso, and McNeil kind of heating up a little bit. The bats are starting to click a little bit better, but it's a little bit too late. Give me a second here. I'm a little bit thirsty. But it's a little bit too late. Like I said, Lindor for the better part of the year, I feel like he's been clawing, he's been climbing, he's been been doing well. He was hitting well before the All-Star break. He went into a funk after the All-Star break again for a little bit, but he's busted out of it again. But like I said, the last 54 games or whatever it is, 55 games, hitting like in the 320s, whatever it is. He's done really, really well. Hitting right now 254, and like I said, early in the season, hitting the low twos, 210, 215, whatever it was, to be where he's at now is really impressive. 23 home runs, 78 RBIs. So it's not out of the realm. It's going to be tough, but he could be at 30 home runs and 100 RBI. I don't think so. I more realistically, I would say like 26, 27, and maybe 90, 95 RBI. But still a really impressive season for Francisco Lindor. Jeff McNeil has been hitting the ball a lot lately. I did read. I think I read it. Yeah, I read something on the Twitter. Somebody was kind of attributing that to a lack of pressure. Now that the team's kind of out of it, and they've sold off all these pieces, that there's no more pressure to do well. That's why McNeil's doing well. I don't believe that. He did well last year. It's something I mentioned on this team on this show before, but Jeff McNeil's career kind of he'll hit 250 one year, the next year hit 300, then the next year he hits 250 again, then he hits 300. So this is his dip. But he's been doing much better. 30 for 89 so far in August. So it's around 300. So he's been doing good. He's been doing well. A couple of hits that I seen him hit recently look like the old Jeff McNeil, kind of like I think he had a hit like that last night. It was like a little bit of a flare, kind of like looks like a half swing kind of thing. But yeah, kind of getting back to his form. It'd be nice to see these guys kind of heat up, for the stretch run of the season here, for the end of the season, and kind of carry that over to next year. But that doesn't always work like that. And Pete Alonso, his power has come back. He's had, I think 11 home runs in the last 25 games or something like that. So he's been hitting the ball really well. The power's back. I seen him. It seems like he's hit a little bit more opposite field again, which is good. It seemed like he was trying to pull it way too much. Trying to go for the home run way too often this season, which kind of led to his average being really, really low this year for the better part of the season. He's up to 224 now, which is kind of like a miracle to where it was. Is approaching the Mendoza line there for a little bit. Under 200. I know it was really, really close. I think the lowest I think I might have seen was like 202, 203. But he's able to climb out of that, get up to 224. Now he's at 39 home runs, 95 RBI. So he should get to 40 and 100 this year. Another great season for Pete Alonso. Just need that average up. I mean, it doesn't have to be 300. 300 would be great. But for a power hitter like that, 250 to 270, it would be fantastic. That's what I think that's what he hit last year. I think he hit like 268, 270. So to get there would be awesome again next season. That's looking ahead if they can carry this end of the season stretch over to next year. It would be really, really good. DJ Stewart has been playing well. A guy that they brought up during all the sell-offs and trades and stuff like that. It was kind of like when they brought him up, it's like, oh my God, where's Ronnie Mauricio? We bring up DJ freaking Stewart, but he hasn't played bad. hitting 246, 6 home runs. He's had 5 home runs so far in August. So these, he had a 2 home run game a couple games ago, I think, against St. Louis. I think he had a home run, I could be wrong, against the Braves 2 nights ago in the opening of that series. So yeah, he's been a nice surprise. Now, the one guy that's been struggling recently, Francisco Alvarez. It's been a while since he hit a home run in a few weeks. I'd like to see him get clicking again. I don't know if it's the season starting to wear on him a little bit, or what it is. Pressure, or just in a simple old funk. It happens. It's. Players go into a slump and they just got to work out of it. So hopefully he figures it out soon. Get back to that Francisco Alvarez. So last night he got up with I think 2 men on, ended up grounding into a double play. I think it was 2 on, no outs, and grounded to third base, and it was a step on third, throw to first kind of play, and it was a bit of a bummer because you're almost expecting him to do something electric, because you've seen that especially earlier in the season when he had a couple games where he hit those big 3-run home runs, and you're almost expecting it. You're just waiting for it to happen, and it was just a simple double play. It was a bit of a bummer. So hopefully he can catch fire before the end of the season and feel good about himself heading into next season. Oh, yeah. Adam Glenn says he ages like fine wine. Do you think the Mets will finish in last place? I want to say no, but it might be more beneficial if they do. I don't know if I understand the rule 100%, but because of how much they spent in luxury tax and all that other crap, luxury cap, whatever it is, if they finish in the bottom 5, I think that if they finish in the bottom 5, they'll keep their top 5 pick. But if they finish like 6 and above, because of the luxury tax, they would drop to the end of the round. I don't know if that's right or not. I've read it a couple times, but I feel like I'm messing it up when I say that. So I'm not 100% sure. So the way I read it, it's probably more beneficial that they do finish in last place, but I don't want to see them finish in last place. So that's where it's at. It's it's nice to have a top 5 pick, but that's no guarantee. It's not a guarantee, and yeah. If anything, maybe you can dangle it for a trade. I don't know. It's not like professional football where that top 5 pick is a hot commodity. Baseball, it is still a big thing, but it's not, where you get something huge for it. So I hope they don't finish in last. But we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple sponsor reads here before I move on to the next topic at hand. My nose is getting all stuffy. The more I talk, the more stuffy my nose gets, and it really irritates the crap out of me. Jay Feinlaw, attorney Big Al. You reach Jason Fine at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jay Fine Law specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. They have 3 convenient office locations throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. In Cherry Hill, New Jersey, one of their offices are located at 3 Greensward Lane, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And the number there is 856-209-5258. And then in the steel city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, office located at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. And then, last but not least, in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the office located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. That's Jay Fine Law, attorney Big Al. Tell him the Bat Fry sent you. And then, of course, our newest sponsor, Dugout Mugs, the ultimate game day mug. Really cool gift idea or something for collectors, or even if you want to use them as a mug. That's what I do. I have a couple as a collection, but I also use one as a mug. And I use two as a mug, actually. I have the aluminum bat one, and I also have your standard wooden one. You can get all those at dugoutmugs.com. Like I said, the variety of products. They have all the teams. They have different styles. Some of the logos are painted, different style of bat. It's like the one is like an ash bat with the painted logo. They have customized bat mugs you can do. You can do a customized mug. They have a shortstop mug, which is a little bit smaller than their standard dugout mug. They have a wine mug, which is really cool looking. They also have coasters with your teams on there. Baseballs cut in half as bottle openers. They also have knob shots, which is the bottom of the baseball bat, cut off into like a shot glass or something. It's really cool looking. Next episode, I'll have to bring my knob shot out there and display it for the folks out there so they get an idea what I'm trying to spit for them. That's at dugoutmugs.com, and at the register, use the promo code OOTBSports20 for 20% off. That's OOTBSports20 at dugoutmugs.com. So use that promo code to get 20% off. And finally, last but not least, our good friends at monkeycoltcoffee.com. I'm telling you what, I am fading fast. I could use some Monkey Colt coffee, but I'm not going to do it because after this, I want to go to bed. I absolutely love Monkey Colt coffee. Their bourbon chocolate chip infused coffee is really good. My personal favorite is the toasted coconut rum. I still have to try the newest flavor, the Sumatran blend. I did get a sample. It was a whole bean. I do not have a bean grinder though, so they do have it. I do believe in you can buy it as whole bean, the Sumatran flavor, or you could also get it ground already. So I'm going to have to order it ground and so I can try it. They also have mugs, T-shirts, tumblers, cold brew pitchers to if you're a iced coffee guy, a cold brew guy, or gal. I like the cold brew as well as the hot coffee. So I guess you can say I go both ways with coffee. I'm buy coffee. There we go. I'm a buy coffee. I go both ways with coffee. Anyway, it kind of got weird here on the Bat Cave. So like I said, yeah, all that stuff. The K-Cup adapter. They also got rum cake, which is really good. It's not too rummy. It's not overbearing rum flavor. It's really good flavor to it with a little bit of a kick. So I highly recommend that as well. That's monkeycoltcoffee.com. And at checkout, use the promo code OOTBSports for 10% off. The promo code, once again, is OOTBSports. And just a reminder, for every bag of coffee sold, Matt from Monkey Colt Coffee will donate a portion of the proceeds, 10%, I believe, to the National Pediatric Cancer Foundation. So please buy that coffee. Hey, it's me again. Thought you got rid of me, didn't you? No, not yet. Talk a little bit of Jose Quintana, pitching really, really well for the Mets. I've been really pleasantly surprised with Jose Quintana. It's too bad we didn't have him for the whole season. He just came back after the All-Star break because if you remember, he broke his rib earlier in the season, and I guess they found a lesion on his lung, I think it was. And so they had to go in and do a surgery or whatever. So for him to heal, it took time and rehab starts and stuff like that. So he came up. He's only had 5 starts so far, but they've been 5 quality starts. And a quality start is 6 innings or greater and 3 runs or less. So that's all of his starts have been quality starts, which we can't really say that about any other pitcher that the Mets have had this year. So, I mean, as good as Kodai Senga has been this season, earlier in the season he kind of got roughed up a little bit. A lot of that was due to walks. But he's definitely found himself. But even dickhead Scherzer, he's quality start wise, he had a couple in a row, but then he'd have a couple in a row where he got knocked around. Verlander, I guess the diva, whatever you want to call him, he had a couple quality starts in a row, but then he'd have 1 or 2 get knocked around. So nobody has put together a nice 5-game stretch like Quintana has. 6 innings pitched his last outing, 2 earned runs. 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. 6 2/3, 3 runs, and 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. So he's been outstanding. We'll have him back next season as long as they don't trade him away. So that's good to have a nice veteran pitcher there. Hopefully he can carry this over to next season. The one bummer about this is all those quality starts, his record is 1-4. So 1-4 with a 3.03 ERA. So that's the bummer of it, that he's pitched so well and he's 1-4. But once our offense starts coming around next season, if he's pitching like this, he could easily have double-digit wins, which is really, really, really surprising. I didn't expect this. He was probably, out of our whole pitching staff coming into the season, he was probably the pitcher that I was least high on. I was kind of excited for Tyler McGill. I was hoping for early season Tyler McGill last year, not late season Tyler McGill, who we kind of got this year. Cookie Carrasco, I was expecting more out of this year. Of course, you had Verlander and dickhead Scherzer. And Kodai Senga, I didn't know what to expect, to be 100% honest with you, but Jose Quintana, I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. If we get a couple decent games out of him, we'll be in good shape. But he's pitched really, really well. So that's been a nice surprise. I am dying, driving me nuts. Mouth is so dry. So I'll move on to the Bat Fries power rankings here, the Bat Cave power rankings. Create a banner for that. I forgot to create a banner for it, so I want to do that. So it's official. Make it official here. Power rankings. I'm typing. There we go. I'm one of those typers that go like this. That's me. There we go. Power rankings. There it is. Look at that. Magical. Magical. Absolutely magical. Now, I did these power rankings a couple days ago. I think it was 2 days ago. I try to do notes like a couple days before the show, so I don't sound completely like an idiot, but I usually fail. Got a comment here before I hit the power rankings. Eileen says, I was going to ask you about Pete Alonso, possible trade to the Brewers. That's something I wanted to talk about. I got sidetracked when I was talking about Pete earlier. So there was because I probably read the same article you did, Eileen. There were reports out saying that there was Brewers management were saying that they're within field goal range of a Pete Alonso trade. So apparently they're pretty close. I mean, it depends on who your field goal kicker is, I guess. If you have me being a Raiders fan, if you had Sebastian Janikowski kicking your field goals, that field goal range is pretty long. But if you have somebody that doesn't have quite the leg like I think who's not a very good lengthy kicker. I think Robbie Gold. I could be wrong about that though. I feel like Robbie Gold never really had a long. He's an accurate kicker, but he didn't have that distance. But anyway, way off subject here. Excuse me. But yeah, so and the Mets denied this. They said they were never close. They did, and one of the things that they did say, the Mets said they were entertaining offers on everybody. So it's not surprising that they entertained offers on Pete. There was a couple teams that were that contacted the Mets about Pete. The Brewers obviously being one. Mark Canha ended up going to the Brewers, I believe. Who were the other ones? It was it Arizona? I don't remember who it was. But the Brewers, the article was about the Brewers and saying how it was kind of the Mets wanted a top 5 prospect and the Brewers weren't going to give up their number 1 overall prospect, but there was a chance that one of these other, like they listed a couple other prospects. One was a catcher, one was a pitcher, one was a third baseman, and I think another one was an outfielder that that possibly could trade for Pete Alonso. But yeah, if it really got that close, I'm surprised. I think the Mets should re-sign Pete. Pete's my favorite player, so of course I want him re-signed. But with that being said, me to be a neutral party here, if you're gonna trade Pete, do it in the offseason. Do it now. It's as soon as the season's over, as soon as you're able to trade people, don't wait till the season starts or at the trade deadline. Because as you can see how the season went for him, you just don't know how he's gonna start the season off. Is he gonna start off hot? He started off this season, playing pretty well, or is he going to start off cold, like the funks that he was in throughout the season so far, and then that could really drive down that trade value. So if he finishes up, the way he's playing now, if he finishes up the season, continuing with his power hitting, you should be able to demand a really nice haul for Pete Alonso, which I do not want. I do not want the Mets to trade Pete Alonso. But if they were going to, I think the offseason would be the perfect time. Don't wait any longer to do it. I think that they should re-sign Pete Alonso. And I know I listened to I think it was one of the Mets shows. I don't think it was Interstate Mets Report. Maybe it was Interstate Mets Report. I don't think it was. I think it was like the Mets post game or something like that. With CPNY Sports, the Amish Country Mets fan, and I think it's Flushing Sunny 44, and they were talking about what would Pete get, and I said some crazy ass number like Pete should get like I don't know $27 million a year, whatever the number I threw out there was just insane, but I think he's worth it. I think he's been a leader in the dugout. Or in the clubhouse. He's always done well with the media. A terrific power bat. It's hard to replace 40-plus home runs. And, that's what he gives you year in and year out. His batting average this year is not typical if you look at his past seasons. It's not a huge sample size. He's only been up since, I think, 19. So, but still, it's – he's a really, really good player. And at first base, he is a little bit of a liability. I think he's gotten better. Sometimes there is a player or two that kind of like, oh man, need to make that. But I think he makes a lot of really good plays as well. So he's not perfect. He's never going to be an elite first baseman, but I think he's serviceable. And as he gets older, you look at that DH role. So. And, there's been talk of Kevin Parada working at first base. With him coming up, a highly touted Met minor leaguer, coming up that is, a catcher right now. But, we see what we have with Francisco Alvarez. I don't really expect him to go anywhere anytime soon. So one of those two guys, the way it looks, probably Parada, working at first base could move Pete to DH, or at least rotate in and out more from first base to DH. So we'll have to wait and see. So I do hope the Mets re-sign Pete. I was a little shocked that it was that close with the Brewers, but they said, they said that everybody's on the block. They're listening out. They're entertaining offers on everybody. Doesn't mean they're going to trade those people, but let's see what you got. Basically, what do you got for me, and then go from there. So, all right, the power rankings, the Batcave power rankings. Like I said, I did this like 2 days ago. Looking at it now, I'd probably switch a couple, but it is what it is. It's an imperfect system. I don't watch all these teams. I kind of go back and I do listen to a lot of sports radio. I should say a lot. To and from work, I listen to the MLB Network on Sirius XM. So I won't listen to ESPN because I think ESPN is complete garbage now. I used to like, one of my favorite shows was Mike and Mike in the morning. I used to love listening to Mike Golick and Mike Greenberg. I felt like they did a good job of hitting all the sports except for hockey, but still, I feel like they hit all the sports really well. And but now ESPN, is just it's garbage. It's complete utter garbage. Don't like it. So anyway. So I'll start at 10, work my way up, and I'll tell you where they were ranked last, and I'll give you their record as well. Usually I do what they did in the last 10, but I didn't write it down because I did it 2 days ago, so I knew it was going to change. And even their records are all different. So old news, I guess you want to call it. But anyway, number 10, I have the Astros. Last week I had the Astros at 6. They're sitting at 70 and 55. Number 9, I have the Phillies. Sitting at 68 and 57. Again, this is 2 days ago, so I know the records are a little bit different. Last week I had them at 8. Number 8, I have Toronto this week at 69 and 56. Last week I had them at 7. At number 7, I have the Brewers sitting at 68 and 57. They had a nice jump up this week on the Batcave Power Rankings. Last week they were number 9, so they jumped up a couple spots. Number 6, the biggest jumper of the week, the Mariners, playing really, really well. 70 and 55. Last week they were 10. So they jumped up 4 spots. Number 5, Texas, 72 and 52. Last week they were 5. Now, this is where I kind of say, I did this a couple days ago. Texas has lost, I think, like 7 games in a row maybe now. So if I had to redo it, I'd probably have the Texas Rangers and the Mariners flip-flopped. I'd probably have the Mariners at 5 and Texas at 6. But like I said, it's already on paper, so I'm just reading it off the paper. But so the Mariners have been playing really well. And you know what? I left them for dead. A few weeks ago, I said, they're done. They're not going to do anything. But now they're sitting, I think, 1 or 1.5 games out of the AL West lead. So they're hot right now. Julio Rodriguez did miss last night's game due to illness. So I don't know if it's a flu thing or crabs or something. I don't know. But hopefully it's not a long-term thing with him. Number 4, I have the Tampa Bay Rays. They're fading fast, 75 and 51. Last week I had them at 4. So real quick on the Tampa Bay Rays, I want to go back to last week's show. So last week I had a guest on. I had Phil Haney on, who does Tampa Bay Sports Talk down in Tampa Bay. And so we were talking Rays and Lightning and stuff like that, and it was terrible. With me and him, I thought it was a great conversation, but unfortunately there was an echo, and I went back and tried listening to it, and you can't. It's impossible to listen to. It's really distracting, but unfortunately, it's a bummer because I thought we had a really good conversation talking about Tampa Bay, the Rays, and the Lightning and stuff like that, and the whole Wander Franco thing going on, and the Rays kind of like falling back a bit here. So I'd like to have Phil on again. I'm looking, maybe October. I have to get with him and see what his availability is. But I figure October would be a good time because the Rays are probably going to be in the playoffs in October. So you'll have the Rays, you'll have the Lightning starting up, the hockey starting up, and you also have the Buccaneers playing. So I think that'd be a lot of fun. I'm going to try to get Phil on again. Like I said, see what his availability is. But yeah, I have the Rays at 4. Number 3, the Dodgers. They've been playing really good, really, really good. Sitting at 76 and 47. Last week they were 3. Number 2, I have the Orioles. So this was kind of hard for me. Number 1 and number 2. The Orioles has been playing so good, for a nice stretch here now. Blown by Tampa Bay. They're 77 and 47. Last week they were 2. And number 1, the jerk-off Braves, sitting at 80 and 44. And last week they were number 1. So makes me want to throw up that I have the Braves at number 1, but it is what it is. Just trying to be honest with myself. Sometimes you got to look in the mirror and just kind of, all right, this is who we are. This is what I got to do. Got to be honest with myself. The Braves look like the best team in baseball right now. All right. So go back and hit some comments up here. I'm a little bit behind. Eileen, it would have been embarrassing if they had traded Alonso after trading Scherzer and Verlander. I don't know if it would have been embarrassing. It would have been a huge shock to the system. It wasn't a shock that the Mets traded Scherzer. Like, you can kind of see the writing on the wall with the Scherzer trade. It was a shock when they traded Verlander, and it would have been an even bigger shock if they would have traded Alonso. I think it's if they would have traded Alonso after they traded Verlander, I think Mets Twitter would have just blown up, caught fire, imploded, or whatever. It would have been really, really bad. Eileen says that trade would have made more Mets fans mad than the other 2 being traded. Absolutely, 100%. There's if I had to put a number to it, I would say I would have to say 80% of the Mets fans love Pete Alonso and 20% aren't a huge fan of him. And I guess from a lot of the stuff that I've read online is a lot of the fans view him as a bit of a douchebag or a goofball or something like that, or it's a goofy dude. I like Pete. I like his goofiness, his quirkiness. So I'm one of the 80%. I think he says, I'll say that Mariners are on the rise. They're definitely on the rise, playing really, really good. Surprisingly good, because from a large part of the season, they really mid. But, that's you catch fire at the right part of the season. That's what it is. That's what it's all about. They catch fire now and are able to take it through September. You don't know what could happen. They can make a run. Adam says, your rankings are bad, biased against the Phillies. You're lucky the Phillies are even on it. I could have put the Marlins there. I could have put anybody else there. The Twins. I could have put the Twins there, or the Reds. So you're even lucky the Phillies are on it. Trey Turner's been playing better, so that's good for the Phillies. Nola the other night went 7 innings, 4 earned runs, and the Philly fans were over the moon about it. So I guess Nola gave up a couple early runs, but I know he's been from what I understand, he's been struggling as of late. So I guess going 7 innings is a big deal nowadays. So you kind of do have to give him credit. But if the Phillies can figure out their pitching, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll make another run in the playoffs. I don't know if they'll make it run to the World Series again, but you never know. Once you get to that, like I said a million times, once you get to the tournament, everybody's 0-0. You don't know what could happen. Eileen says it worked out. It was enjoyable again. Yeah, it was. But yeah, the Phil Haney podcast was a huge bummer. Like I said, it was. You had the echo in the beginning, and then it went away, and then I don't know, the last so much again. It was I didn't hear the echo at the end, but when I go back and listen to it, you could hear it. Like it was really bad. So All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do our show reads and then get the hell out of here and go to bed. I'm tapping out here. So our show reads. We got Mondays at 4:30 p.m. for all you gamers out there, Joystick Junkies. 6 p.m., the Sully Squad talking Philadelphia sports. 8:30 p.m., the Big Blue Power Hour. Then Tuesdays at 6:30, Commanders Gridiron talking Washington Commanders football. Then 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday, Extra Innings talking all Major League Baseball. Wednesdays at 10 a.m., the Bat Cave. 8 p.m. on Wednesdays, College Football Frenzy talking college football. Then 9:30 p.m., Dem 215 boys talking Dallas Cowboy football. Thursday, it says Fuji's Philly Flair. Fuji's off for the next 2 weeks, I think, yet. Week or two. Doing stuff for the Phillies. And so Thursdays right now, it's the NFC East Roundtable. So you have somebody from the Commanders, the Big Blue Power Hour, Dem 215 boys, and an Eagles fan. And they'll talk their prospective teams and outlooks and try to be civil with each other. Fridays at 10:30 p.m., the Atomic Drop podcast with myself and Cowboy Dave, the showstopper, Cowboy Dave, talking WWE wrestling. Not 100% sure if the show will go on this week. This is my work weekend. I'm thinking I will probably have to work. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with this with Friday's show. Saturday, 11 a.m., Irish pregame and Irish postgame. 10 p.m. Vegas sports scene. I'm going to talk about that in 1 second here. Sundays, to be announced, you have Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, and possibly Commanders pregame and postgame. Coming soon to the Out of the Box Sports Network. The Debate Room, which is exactly how it sounds. Lights, camera, action, talking Hollywood type stuff, movies and stuff like that. The Birds Corner, that'd be Eagles, or it could be something else, but I'm pretty sure it's the Eagles. And the Old School, like I said earlier, the Old School will be back tomorrow night. Joel Sullivan, I'll put that graphic up here right now. The Old School 1993 Phillies edition tomorrow night. So be sure to check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Even if you're not a Phillies fan, check it out. That was a fun team. It really was. And it's going to be a lot of fun to kind of relive that time through the eyes of Phillies fans. Again, I was a Mets fan, so I couldn't enjoy it like the Philly fans did. The Phillies run to the World Series that year. But I was definitely rooting for him. I was a Darren Dalton fan. I started getting into catching then, so I really like Darren Dalton on that team. And so it's gonna be neat to see them talk about that show. And so real quick, the Las Vegas sports scene. I'm gonna do some retooling with the show, Las Vegas sports scene. So if you ever seen the Las Vegas sports scene, I talk Raiders, I talk the Golden Knights. And a little bit of WNBA, the Las Vegas Aces, as well as started talking a little bit of Oakland Athletics with them moving to Las Vegas. Well, I'm not really a Golden Knights fan, so I feel weird talking about the Golden Knights fan. I'm an LA Kings fan, and one of their rivals are the Golden Knights. So it's kind of weird for me to talk about the Golden Knights. I'm not really into them, so it's kind of like I'm just kind of muddling my way through it. So I'm going to do a little bit of retooling with the Vegas sports scene. I'm going to change the name, change the look, and we're going to go from there. I'm thinking for the name change, I have a couple thoughts. Kenny's Snake Pit was one, going off of a play of Kenny the Snake Stabler's name. The Black and Silver Show, because I don't want to go silver and black. There's a lot of silver and black shows, podcasts out there, so I don't want to really do one of those. But then I think the one that I'm leaning towards is called Raiders Kingdom. So yeah, the Raiders and the Kings. I'm going to be talking. Those are the two teams I'm going to primarily be talking about on that show. The Raiders and the LA Kings. So Raiders Kingdom is kind of what I'm leaning towards. So let me know your thoughts on that. If you think that name is if you think that name's trendy or whatever, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm searching for words that are not coming. So yeah. So it's that's a little bit of a layout for it. We'll have something like that. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a little bit of a change, and hopefully I have all that stuff changed over in the next couple of weeks. See what Paul can do, my eco can do for me, and go from there. Like I said, it is my work weekend, so I don't know if I'll be on at all this weekend. I'll try to get on with with Raiders talk. It's just going to be at a different time, and I'll let everybody know what time it's going to be. So I won't get my work schedule for the weekend until Thursday night when I go in. So it's going to be late in the week until I actually know what's going on with the Atomic Drop and the Vegas show. Eileen says she expresses my feelings very, very correctly. Boo work. Eileen says, I'd like to see the old school talk the 01 World Series. Well, you know what? That'd be a lot of fun. The Subway Series, the Mets Yankees. That's something that's the show you'll have to come on, Eileen. You need a Yankees fan for that. So it could be me, you, and Sully talking the 01 World Series. Roger Clemens throwing a chunk of a bat at Mike Piazza. The Mets lost that series 4-1. That was kind of like my first Mets heartbreak because the 86 World Series, I was 6 years old, so I didn't really watch baseball, and I really started getting into the Mets late 80s. Early 90s, so there's a lot of bad 90s teams, and the Mets kind of started getting better there at the end of the 1990s and into early 2000s. So the Raiders Black Hole, I like that one. I want to check see if there's any names like that. I'm trying to incorporate the Kings as well. That's why I want Raiders Kingdom, but it doesn't have to necessarily be incorporated in there. Raiders Black Hole. I'm going to have to remember to write that down. Raiders Black Hole. Let me write it down now. Raiders Black Hole. Check that out. See if there's any podcasts out there with that similar name already. Eileen says, I'm enjoying this way too much today instead of working. Are you not at work at all today? Are you playing hooky? Are you bagging it? Oh, boy. Adam says Raiders Kingdom is a good name. Oh, 2000. I'm sorry. Oh, you know what? That's right. Game 7, wasn't it? The Yankees lost to Diamondbacks in 7 games. Diamondbacks won off of Mariano, right? Mariano came in to close it out, I think. And Diamondbacks ended up getting the bases loaded, I think. And was it Gonzalez? I can't think of his first name. I think Gonzalez had the game-winning hit, perhaps. I remember that a little bit now. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got the years. Like I said, the memory box is all screwed up. It's all, like one of those things when you put on those bad websites. You get your device gets filled with bugs and glitches and stuff like that. That's what's up here. It's all glitchy and I can't remember stuff, or stuff gets jumbled up. I don't remember it the same way it was. Have you always been a remote worker? I feel like you had to go into an office. Huh. So Eileen, before I get off here, so who hit that game-winning hit for the Diamondbacks against the Yankees? I feel like it was shit. I could picture him. Luis Gonzalez. I think it was Luis Gonzalez. I've been remote since COVID. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought you went into an office and stuff like that, and they're always hassling you for listening to the Bat Cave, and like you're at the office. They no, guys, really check it out. And you swing your monitor around. It's the Bat Cave. It's a really cool show. Like this guy, he's handsome but not, and he's funny sometimes. That's how I imagine things happening. Man, I am wrong. Luis, yep. All right, there we go. I did remember it right then. Luis Gonzalez. I think he was for some reason I feel like he was in the running for MVP that year as well. I don't know if that was that season where he had like 40 some home runs. Like it's one of those like steroid head scratchers, where he's like a 15 home run guy, and then all of a sudden one year he gets 40 plus home runs. I did tell a coworker over the instant message a week ago about your show. Thank you, Eileen. I appreciate it very much. Spread the word. You can check us out on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Well, I don't know if it's Twitter. It's X, I guess, whatever the hell that is. That's if X is the official name, I've never heard. If that's an official name, if it's still called. Well, it's definitely not Twitter anymore. It's not because they don't call them tweets. They call them posts. They don't say retweet. It says repost now, which is so generic. I don't like it. I like the little bird. Twitter, it felt something. It felt like something different. But now it just feels like, feels like Facebook, I guess. I don't know. But we're also on the Instagram and TikTok. Usually I put a video out for the show on TikTok to promote the show. But time has escaped me. I lost track of time this week and never got to the video, which is a bummer because I like doing the promo videos. It takes a lot. I do a lot of takes on the promo videos. I should do an outtake one or a blooper reel of the promos. A lot of cursing in those ones. I'll get halfway through it and I'll stumble over my words, or I'll stutter, or I'll say something ridiculous and I'll start cursing and goes, F. Then I'll hit pause and delete and then start all over again with a smile on my face like it never happened. Then 3 seconds into it, I start cursing again, and I got wipe the sweat from my face. And like the wrestling ones I do, I wear my Batman mask, and it gets hot in that thing after 8, 9, 10 takes. But I want to do it right. I want it to look not as goofy. So all right. I'm just rambling now. That's all I have for today. Thank you very much for checking the show out. And like I said, tomorrow, check out the old school. 93 Phillies. If you're watching this, I don't know how many people watching this are actually Mets fans anyway. But if you're just a baseball fan, just check out old school tomorrow. 93 Phillies. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great show, no doubt. Thanks for checking the show out. Tune in next Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Let's go Mets.